Thanks for joining us here at Functional Bliss, where Audra and Jessica will guide you through exercises and wellness techniques to help you live your best life every day. It's in the name, after all, Functional Bliss. Before you do anything else, click like and subscribe and ring the bell so you'll know whenever we put up a new video. To join our Blissful Gang for live Zoom classes where you can get more direct suggestions and encouragement, go to our website and sign up. Check the class description below for any equipment needs, grab your gear, and let's get started.
I positioned my chair just kind of for that ease of navigation. So just to say that if you want to, all we're going to do is just sit for a minute in a really kind of a soft seated position. So put your blanket on your chair, sit your butt, and we're not even going to sit all the way back. That's how much we're not going to spend too much time here, but just sort of a little bit of a check-in, a little bit of grounding. So get yourself comfortable, put your cushion on your chair, sit your butt down. And then once you're there, we're just going to do a little bit of a light lean forward. Back. And then just take a few moments here, just kind of notice, how does your back feel? Can you just start to slow your breath down just a little bit? Breathe in and out through your nose. All right, and then the next time you come back into that more upright position, pause just for a moment, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Just take a gentle breath in through your nose. Nice slow breath out. Take a moment here to set an intention to honor your mind and your body throughout your practice. Never doing anything that would cause your body pain, and treating yourself with love, care, and respect. With that intention set, hands are going to slide forward just a little bit, catch the kneecaps. Good morning, Christina. Christina, we need a little folded up blanket on our chair this morning, and we will be getting up and down off of the ground. So any props that you might like that help ease that transition. All right, but I'll give you variations if you'd rather do everything on the chair. So grab hold of the kneecaps, take it right into a little gentle cat-cow. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your chin. Exhale and round your back, round your shoulders. And then how deep you go with this movement here, play around with what feels really nice in your body. For some of us, flexing the spine and extending the spine in like some big grand way might feel really good. But for some of us, a smaller, gentle motion might feel like the better maneuver. So play around with what feels really nice. Take about 3 more cycles of breath. Wonderful. And then the next time you come up to a fairly neutral spine, we're going to go for a really super light twist. So you're going to gently twist to one side, not extreme. You're not even going to leverage and pull against the leg. You're just going to twist just so where you find your handhold, and then that's where you land. And then once you've got your gentle twist, think about breathing nice and full and expansively into your rib cage. So think about your rib cage like an umbrella. As you inhale, the umbrella expands in all directions. And then as you exhale, it closes in on itself. Take one more umbrella breath here. And then we're going to gently release, pause in the center. We're going to take one little cat-cow here. Inhale to lift your heart. Exhale to round your back. And then as you find that neutral spine again, then you're going to rotate or twist to the other side, but it's a super light, gentle twist. You're going to twist just enough that you get a handhold, and then come back to that umbrella breath. Breathe into your rib cage. Inhale, the umbrella expands, and then exhale, the umbrella closes in on itself. Take one more breath. Lovely. And then unwind that rotation, come back to center. Take one more cat-cow. Inhale as you lift your heart. Exhale as you round your back, and then find that neutral spine. And then we're going to tuck our chin down to our chest, and then we're just going to roll the chin across the chest. So think ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. Just find a little gentle movement around the head, around the neck. Notice how the side of your neck feels Notice how the back of your neck feels. Notice if you're holding any tension in your jaw or clenching your teeth together. Can you move your head from side to side? Breathe in and out through your nose, but keep your jaw soft. Take one more little roll of the head from side to side, and then we're going to go into a forward fold from here. So we're going to just step our feet forward, and you're going to scoot your butt as far forward to the edge of your chair so you have plenty of space for that fold to happen. Scoot your butt forward, step your feet forward, and then slide your hands down. Go nice and slow and gentle here. You don't have to go for depth, but go for feeling in the back. So once you feel like you feel a little straining or stress in the low back, that's where you're going to want to stop. And then see if you can come back to that umbrella breath. Breathe into your rib cage. Inhale, the umbrella opens. Exhale, and the umbrella closes in. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly, gently, mindfully walk yourself up. We're going to come back to a fold, but we're going to take it into a wider leg position. So now you're going to step your feet slightly wider. You still want to make sure that you have a good foundation. So you want to feel like you're secure in your seat and secure in your feet. And then once you've got a nice wide position, fold yourself down again. Now you might land at your shins. You might let your elbows rest on your thighs, or you might let your hands touch the floor. So that's going to be what feels the best to you. There's no right or wrong. Find your folded position and then come back to your breath. Take a nice inhale. Fill the rib cage up. Exhale nice and slow. 2 more cycles of breath. Nice. And then when you're ready, slowly bring yourself up and out of that fold. We're going to walk the feet in just a little bit. So not necessarily hip width distance apart, but just a little bit closer so that you can get your feet grounded. And now we're going to come back to that light and gentle twist. So just enough that you feel your handhold. But now we're going to add a little head turn in the opposite direction. So for twisted to the left, turn your head to the right. And then we're just going to do a couple of head turns. So you're going to bring head to center, turn your head to the right. So it's just center and right. So we're going to stay in that central midpoint and then look over that front shoulder. Take a couple of turns of the head, just as much as feels good to you. Wonderful. Now, the next time your head turns and looks over that shoulder, you're going to tuck your chin down towards your shoulder. Take a breath. And then you're going to lift your chin gently up, but almost as if you're trying to lean back a little bit. So lift your chin and then lean it back just a little bit, and then take another breath. Release your chin. Return your head back to that neutral position, unwind your twist, and then we're going to take it right over to the other side. So twist to the other side, just so. It doesn't need to be extreme. Find your twisted position and then start with the head turn. Look over the front shoulder, come back to center. Look over the shoulder, come back to center. Take a few more just like that, whatever pace makes the most sense to you, finding just a little bit of range of motion. The next time your head turns and looks over that shoulder, tuck your chin down towards the shoulder, take a breath. Awesome. And then lift the chin up, but lean it slightly back. Take a breath. Beautiful. And then release your chin, unwind your twist, take a couple little shrugs of your shoulders, wiggle out your ribs, let everything be kind of soft and loose, and then give your fingers a little wiggle and a twinkle. Now, from here, especially if you set yourself up so that you can easily transition, we're going to pivot ourselves around. So if you like that nice, easy transition, bring your hands to the back side of your chair. Hands find the chair, and then you pivot and swivel your butt around. Once you're there, we're going to start with our fingers pointing towards the back side of the chair. So we're facing the low side of the chair, facing the back of the chair. Fingertips are facing that side of the chair. And then we're going to say tabletop position, and we're going to rock ourselves slightly forward and back. So shoulders slightly past the wrist, and then shoulders slightly behind. You'll feel a little bit of movement in your feet as well, but most of our focus is going to be up at our hands and our wrists. Take one more little slight rock forward and back. And then we're going to lift up our fingertips, and both fingertips are going to face in towards each other. So fingertips in towards each other, wrists out to the side. And then once you've got yourself here, and then every move we make, you're going to go at a depth that makes the most sense to your hands, your wrists, your fingers. So only go to a place that feels comfortable. Rock yourself a little bit side to side in a nice gentle maneuver. One more little rock side to side, and then we're going to flip fingertips facing away from each other. So the heels of the hands are going to be in, the fingertips are going to be out. And then once you've got that position, come back to that gentle rocking side to side. Beautiful. One more little gentle rock side to side, and then we're going to come back to fingertips pointing towards the tall side of the chair. So reset your hands so that fingertips are facing forward. And now we're going to take our tabletop and we're going to draw it in some gentle circles. Circle in one direction. When you're ready, we're going to reverse, go the other way. Beautiful. One more circle around, and then we're going to keep our tabletop position, but we're going to start to pedal the feet. So we're going to keep the feet on the ground. One heel is going to lift up and then the other. One more pedal of each foot with the feet on the ground, and then we're going to lift. So we're going to elevate the heels, keep them elevated, and then we're going to press the heels down. So the ankles meet at the top, and we press one heel down and then the other. All right, one more up and down with each leg. And now we're gonna keep that lifted position. So both heels are gonna be lifted. And now we're gonna take our heels, and I'll spin myself around just so you can see what's going on. So we're gonna take our heels and we're gonna draw them in circles. How deep you go with those circles, where do you feel the strongest? Where do you feel the most comfortable? But can you pick up your heels and then just draw them in some gentle circles? I like this tabletop position because you get to kind of look at your feet, you get to kind of look at your ankles. So stay in control of your movement. It does not need to be extreme, just to find that nice bit of gentle strength and mobility in the feet and the ankles. And now if you're going in one particular direction, reverse and go the other way. Take your time. Beautiful. One more circle around. And now we're going to use our blanket for a moment down at our feet. So we're going to just step our feet back just enough. Grab your blanket. You're going to place your blanket down at the floor at your feet. And then we're going to walk ourselves back forward. So hands are going to find the low side of the chair. We're going toes only on the blanket. So not toes and balls of the feet, but just your toes. So you're going to try to step your toes up onto the blanket, but keep the balls of the feet off of the blanket. And then that you might need to readjust your blanket, do all the little wiggles around that you need to. Once you've got all 10 toes or however many toes you have onto your blanket with the balls of the feet off, now we're going to go for some heel lifts here. You might not get a lot of height. Don't worry about that, but try to keep the toes on the blanket, balls of the feet off, and then lift your heels up and then lower them down. Nice and slow and controlled. The beauty of this position, again, is you can look down at your feet without too much effort, but keep a slight sense of firmness in your abdomen. So we're not dropping into the back and keeping things funky at the top half of the body. Keep everything fairly engaged. Beautiful. Take one or two more lifts up and down, and then we're going to walk back to a nice down dog. So you can leave your blanket on the ground if you want to. Start to step your feet back. Walk yourself back just enough so that you feel maybe a little stretch in the back of the body, maybe a little drop in the heart space so the heart melts towards the thighs. Maybe feel a little sense of stress in the backs of the legs, but not too much. If you're feeling like a big tug and it's zinging you up in your butt, bend your knees a little bit. Once you've got the down dog shape that feels the nicest to you, pause for a moment, let your head soften, let your jaw soften. Take a nice deep breath in. Nice slow breath out. Take one more breath here. Beautiful. And then soften your knees, look forward. As we walk up, we're going to grab that blanket that's on the ground. We're going to replace it onto the low side of the chair just to kind of clear it out of our space. And then once you've got that blanket back on the low side of the chair, bend your knees nice and strong, push down into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, look to the sky. Hands are going to come through heart center, hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, hands through heart center, hands down at your sides. One more just like that. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, hands through heart center, hands down at your sides. Now we're going to go just a little bit further. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees. Hands are going to fold to the low side of the chair. And then inhale to half forward fold. So we straighten the legs and lengthen the spine. And then we're going to bend the knees just a little bit, but keep that nice good length in your spine. Push firm into your feet, rise all the way up. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center, hands down at your sides. We'll do that again. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees, hands to the low side of the chair. Inhale to half forward fold. So we straighten the legs and lengthen the spine, and then soften the knees, push firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. One more just like that. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees, hands to the low side of the chair. Inhale to that half forward fold, lengthen the spine, straighten the legs. And now we're going to soften the knees, walk it back to your downward facing dog. So hands on the blanket, hands on the low side of the chair, walk back to that down dog. And then once you're in that down dog shape, you're going to soften it up just a little bit. We're going to keep the spine facing forward to the low side of the chair, but we're going to walk our feet over to the right. So feet are going to start to walk and turn to the right. Spine is going to face towards the front side of the chair. Soften your heart down, take a nice big breath. Beautiful. Soften up just enough so you can walk through center. And then we're going to take it over to the other side. So spine's going to stay facing towards the chair. Feet are going to now walk and turn to the left just as much as feels good. And then once you've got it, let your heart melt down. Notice the left side of your body. Take a nice deep breath in. Nice slow breath out. Soften up just a little bit so that you can walk it back through center. And now we're going to step the right foot up and the left foot back just a little bit. We want to think warrior one. So we're going to have the left toes turned out slightly with the heel on the ground. Right knee is bent. But we're going to keep this supported position. So we're going to keep our hands on the chair. So think warrior one with the back half of the body, but hands on the chair. And then once you've got that position, we're just going to gently lift the heart forward, but keep your hands on the chair. Lift your gaze. Feel a little bit of sense of a squeeze between the shoulder blades, maybe even a slight arch in the back or a slight back bending situation. Take a breath here. Now we're going to lengthen or straighten the front leg as we lengthen the spine. So if you're arching your back just a little bit, now you're going to straighten the back and straighten the front leg, and then bend the front knee, drop the belly down, feel that little bit of arch in the back. And we're going to go through those two spaces. Straighten the front leg, lengthen the spine, bend the front knee, pull the heart forward, and then do maybe 2 or 3 more, just depending on a pace that makes the most sense to you. Beautiful. Take one more time through. And then if you can, you're going to firm up your hands on your chair. You're going to sweep that front foot back to meet the back foot. Come through a little bit of a down dog shape. Maybe shake out your tail just a little bit. And then left foot's going to step forward. Right foot's going to rearrange so the toes are turned out slightly. So we find that lunging position or warrior one type position for the bottom half of the body. Pull the heart forward, squeeze between the shoulder blades, lift the heart. And then we straighten the front leg and broaden the shoulders, lengthening through the spine. Beautiful. Bend that front knee, squeeze between the shoulder blades, pull the heart forward, and then just work between those two spaces. Find the depth of work that makes the most sense to you and find a pace that feels reasonable to your body. Beautiful. Take one more time forward and back. And then when you feel ready, hands are going to stay firmly planted on that chair. You're going to slide that front leg back to meet that back leg. Find that down dog shape. Take one breath in that down dog shape. And then bend your knees, lift your heart, walk yourself back up to that tabletop position. Once you're in your tabletop position, we're going C-spine. So we're hugging hip to shoulder as we look over our shoulder. Wonderful. Take one more C-spine each way. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to come down to the ground in a wide seated forward fold position. So if you like that little assist, or if you like, say, somewhere in between, if you need to cushion your knee, you're going to put your blanket down on the floor, one hand on the chair, cushion your knee, come all the way down. And you also have options to use your chair the whole way down, or you can stay seated in your chair and then do the wide leg fold just from the seated position. So you'll play around with what feels best to you. Once you found your way down to the ground, for right now, if you're down there, place your blanket on top of the chair and then step your feet nice and wide. How wide? What feels good to you? Find a little bit of maybe stress in the inner thigh, maybe a little stress in the groin, and then a hand hold so that you can reach towards the chair and fold forward. So it's going to be a nice, soft, gentle fold, wide legs, and we're going to soften everything. So you're even going to let your toes kind of move with you. You're going to let your hips kind of move with you. Let your heart move with you. Find a little bit of a gentle fold here. And then once you're there, 5 nice deep breaths with as little effort as possible. One more cycle of breath. And then when you're ready, walk your hands up so you're coming up nice and slow and controlled. Take your time. We're going to grab the backs of the knees, help the legs come together just a little bit. Now we're going to scooch our butt forward. We're going to put our legs up and over the chair and then come down onto our back. And if you can, leave your blanket up there. It's going to give you just a little bit of cushion for your heels, a little bit of contact point that we'll play around with. We'll talk through as we get there. Once you've got your legs up and over, back is on the ground, give a second, make sure your costume feels like it's in the right place, make sure your back feels good, tailbone feels good, shoulders feel good, back of the neck feels good. Now we're going to brace our hands. So we're going to flip our hands so that the fingertips are pointing down and we tent our fingers. We just want to feel a little bit of connection through the upper body. And now we're going to start by just gently lifting one heel up off the blanket and then the other. So we're just going to start here. Now, notice here. So if you decided to sit in your chair, we are still in this bent knee seated position. So just think upright spine, but connected to the chair. And here you would just be doing some gentle lifts of your feet up off the ground. So if you opted to sit in your chair, a light little march, pick one foot up and then the other. And then if you're seated, rather than having your fingers tented, you'll just have your hands active down at your side. All right, one more lift of the heels, and now we're going to start to step it out nice and wide. So if you're on the ground and you have space to move your legs, you're going to step one foot, heel's going to touch the ground, bring it back up, step the other foot, heel's going to touch the ground. Now, if you don't have space to move, you're just going to step and tap a little bit out to the side. And if you're in that seated position, you're going to do the same kind of maneuver. You're just going to step out to the side, tap out wide. What we're doing here is engaging the hip flexor muscles a little bit. And especially in this work here, if you want to just kind of tune in and notice as we start to work and you step one foot out to the side and then the other, notice the leg that stays behind. Notice, does it sort of get kicked on? Do you feel your heel get a little bit more pressed into the blanket or into the chair or into the floor? So just notice your standing leg work. And there you might start to walk up that chain of your standing leg and you'll notice there's action happening in your core, your abdominal muscles, your psoas muscles, the hip flexor muscles. So notice where in your body that work is coming from. Take one more time each way. And then when you're ready, come back to center, give everything a pause. Let your feet rest, let your legs rest, let your abdominal muscles rest, let your hands rest. So if you had your fingers tented for that little bracing of the upper body, now flip your palms so they're facing up towards the ceiling. 3 cycles of breath with as little effort as possible. Once you've completed that last cycle of breath, we're going to bring our awareness to our feet and we're going to scrunch up our feet like we're making a fist with the bottom of our foot and then release and spread your toes as wide as you can. Scrunch up your feet like you're making a fist, and then release and spread your toes. Scrunch and release. Scrunch and release. We're going to go for about 5 more, but now see if you can pick up the pace. So we're scrunch and stretch, scrunch and stretch. So you're going to go as fast as you can without thinking about it too much. Don't get caught up in what your toes do. Don't get caught up in what your feet do. Just find that action. Scrunch and stretch, scrunch and stretch. Go for maybe 2 more. I know that's way more than the count that I said. And then once you've done that last one, let your feet soften and relax. Pull your right knee gently up towards your heart. So if you're in a seated position, you're just going to pick that leg up and bring it as close to your heart space as feels good. Same thing on the ground. Take 1 moment here. And then release that leg, switch to the other side. Pull the knee towards your heart space, just as close as you can. Beautiful. And then release. Now we're going to go for a light, gentle figure 4. So if you're laying on the ground with your back on the ground, you're going to start to find some light figure 4. So you're just going to go one leg across and then the other. Same principles if you're in a seated position, but when you're in that seated position, it's a little bit harder to reduce that 90-degree bend. So if you get to the point where bringing the leg across the top of your thigh feels a little not so sure, go just to the shin or just below the knee. Find the place where you can externally rotate the thigh. Bring it across like you're going to cross your legs. It's not about getting there. It's about just finding that external rotation and that light bit of movement. If you're down on the ground and you feel up for it, take that right leg, bring it across the left, hang out in this figure 4 for a moment. If it feels good, right hand is good. Rest gently on the inner thigh. So we're not trying to like push it down and get into it. Just let it rest there. So you're just kind of reducing the effort that the right leg needs to do. Take a breath. Beautiful. And then release your hand. Step that foot off. We're going to switch to the other side. Left leg is going to come across. Go just to the point that feels good. Now, if it feels nice, left hand to the inner thigh, just enough so that you can rest the left leg. So your hand is going to do a little bit of effort. The leg is going to reduce its effort. And then once you've got that reduced effort, come back to your breath. A nice gentle breath in. Nice slow breath out. Release your hand, release your leg. Take a second. We're going to do little windshield wipers here. So you're going to keep your feet up on the chair if you can. Swish your knees just a little bit side to side. It doesn't need to be anything extreme. If you're in the seated position sitting on your chair, you're just going to swish your knees from side to side with your feet on the ground. Take 1 or 2 more windshield wipers here. And then we're going to step our feet off, gently roll over to one side, and then we're going to come into a seated position, so sitting on our butt. But if you opted to sit in your chair, you're just going to sit up nice and tall, scoot your butt forward, and we're going to take a fold. So for anyone who's on the ground, you're going to fold from the ground. If anyone who's sitting on the chair, you're just going to fold from the seat of your chair. All right, so bend your knees a lot, and then just bend down, reach towards your toes. Does not matter if you can touch your toes. Just find this nice, gentle forward fold. And then once you've got this gentle forward fold, come back to that breath in your rib cage. Can you find that inhale? The rib cage opens and expands in all directions, and then exhale, the rib cage closes in. Take 1 more breath. And then come up nice and slow and controlled. Take your time. Now, if Sukhasana feels good, if you like to crisscross your legs, go for it. But if it feels okay, you're going to step 1 foot in. What we just want is a slight bending position. We're going back into our twisting. So we're gentle folding, gentle twisting today. That's our goalpost. So you're just going to bend one knee, bring it in just so you can get a little handhold, and then twist just enough, like nothing extreme. You don't even want to feel any stress if you can help it. So that twist might look different on every body. So find what to your body feels like a gentle twist, and then see if you can just come back to your breath. Breathe in through your nose, expand the rib cage. Breathe out through your nose, but can you keep your jaw soft? Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully unwind. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So if you're in your Sukhasana, you may choose to switch your legs just for a little fun. If you're going for just a bent knee position, and bend your other knee and then rotate just enough. One side might look different in your own body compared to the other. So what is gentle on this side to you? And then once you've got your gentle twist, can you breathe back into your rib cage? Take one more breath. Unwind your rotation. Now, my suggestion for today is going to be a Shavasana with legs up the wall, and you'll take your blanket. Now, if you're in a space where it's still pretty warm and the weather's lovely, you may choose to just keep your blanket on the chair. If you're in a space where there's a slight chill or coolness to the air, you're going to take it with you and we're going to drape it over the belly. So you'll position yourself in the way that makes the most sense. If you can, scoot yourself around, kick your legs up and over the chair, and then we'll take the blanket, open it up just enough so that you can bring it across your belly. And then we're just going to let it rest nice and heavy on the abdomen to create that sense of snugged in feeling. Now, if it's super chilly in the room, just by all means, take that blanket and use it like a full on blanket, cover as much of yourself as feels appropriate. If you're in the seated position, if you opted to stay seated in your chair, just either keep the blanket cushioned underneath your bum. You could also cushion underneath your feet or take it across your lap or gently bring it across your belly. Any variation that feels nice. And then once you've got yourself kind of snuggled in, kind of tucked in, take a moment here to just keep your eyes open if you can. Notice your breath. Notice the space that you're working in. So maybe just get a sense of the walls around you, the ceiling above you, the floor beneath you. As you give your body just a little bit of time before you get fully deeply into your Shavasana, maybe you just offer up a little bit of gratitude for the safe space that you have to work in. And then maybe as you've started to settle in, you've got about 5 deep breaths in this space. Can you close your eyes? Can you soften your jaw? With your eyes closed and your jaw soft, is there any place that you would want to rearrange? Do you want your hands in a different position? Do you want your feet into a different position? Is there anything that you could adjust so you feel slightly more at ease and slightly more comfortable? Make those little adjustments. And then once you're there, start to let everything settle in. Let your mind quiet down best you can. Let your body quiet down best you can. You always have the option to stay in your Shavasana just as long as you like. But if you feel ready to do so, or if your morning requires it, start to bring your awareness back into your body. Gently wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Take a little extra time at those outer extremities. So maybe move your wrists, maybe move your ankles, but stay with the feet, stay with the hands. Bring that gentle movement in. And just as you move the feet, just as you move the ankles, just as you move the fingers, and just as you move the wrists, maybe just start to notice the breath coming in and out through your nose. One more light bit of gentle movement. And then we're going to start to just activate the feet just a little bit more. So if you're seated in your chair, you're going to just walk your feet in so that they feel a little bit more grounded. And then if you're laying on your back, you're going to walk your feet in just so that the legs feel slightly more active. If you had your blanket across your belly, take a moment to just kind of scooch it, move it off of the way. We're going to keep the left leg on the chair, and you're just going to stretch and reach your right leg up towards the ceiling as if you're trying to push your foot up towards the sky, and then release that foot back down to your chair. And now we're going to stretch our left leg up towards the ceiling, like you're trying to push your foot up towards the sky, and then release it back down. We're going to come back to the right leg. You're going to lift your right leg up, but now you're just going to give a little point and flex of the foot. If you're seated in your chair, you're just going to extend your leg out in front of you gently. You can even keep your heel on the ground, a light point and flex of the foot. Float your foot back down to the chair, switch to the other side, left leg up to the sky or left heel to the ground, and then a light point and flex of the foot. One more light point and flex of that foot, and then float that foot down to the ground. We're going to lift our right arm up towards the sky, but left hand is going to do the work. So we're going to take our left hand, and you're just going to grab the muscle and skin of your arm, and you're going to twist up and down. So you're going to twist up towards the wrist, twist down towards the shoulder. Just take a couple of gentle twists up and down, like you're just kind of moving the skin, twisting and turning the muscles on the bone. Take one or two more twists up and down. Nice. And then once you've twisted up and down that right arm just enough, switch to the other side. Right hand's going to do the work. Left hand up towards the sky. Grab the muscle, grab the skin, grab that connective tissue, twist and turn those muscles on the bone. Wonderful. One or two more twists up and down, and then you're going to choose your own adventure here. So if you're on the ground and you want to stay on the ground for that last bit of seated work, by all means, stay seated on the ground. But if it'll feel better to come up to a seated position in the chair, you're going to start to find your way up to any position that feels good. Now, if you opted to stay seated in your chair, you're just going to scoot your butt forward just a little bit and sit up nice and tall. So a nice tall spine is what we're looking for. And truly what we're looking for is a little access to the front of our heart space. So whatever gets you that handhold and that access, and I'm going to come all the way up to a seated position. Once you've got the seated position that makes most sense to you, seating on the ground, seated on your chair, any way that feels good. And heck, you can still probably stay on your back all the way if you want to. But we're going to do light finger taps. We did this yesterday. So if anyone was in yoga yesterday, you know what we did. We're going to inhale, let's tap up and down. And then we're going to retain the inhale. You're going to do 3 thumps to the heart space, and then exhale, let all the breath go. So you'll inhale, tap up and down. Fill up with air, hold and retain the inhale, 3 thumps to the heart, and then exhale, let everything go. Inhale, tap the fingers up and down. Fill up with air, and then hold the inhale, 3 taps to the heart space. Exhale, let everything go. We're going to go for 2 more here. Inhale, tap up and down. Retain the inhalation, 3 thumps to the heart. Exhale, let everything go. Inhale, tap up and down. Retain your inhalation, 3 thumps to the heart. Exhale, let everything go. Last one here. Inhale, tap up and down. Retain the inhalation, 3 thumps to the heart. Exhale, let everything go. And then just hands in Anjali Mudra, hands in Ganesha Mudra if you like. Yesterday was Ganesha Chaturthi. So if you like a little celebration, Ganesha Mudra in front of the heart, or maybe just Anjali Mudra, or stack your hands. Anything that might feel good. Take a moment to find a little handhold in front of your heart, and then close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a nice gentle breath in. A nice slow breath out. breathing in love and gratitude for yourself, for your mind, for your body, and for all of your hard work. And then breathe in a whole bunch of extra love and gratitude that you can carry with you through the rest of your day and share with everyone you see. As we release whatever handhold or mudra we're going with, we're going to take it and stretch it out. So you're going to stretch your arms, you're going to stretch your legs, and just bring that big yawning, reaching stretch, expanding out into the space that you're working in, and then let everything soften and release. I bow to you. You guys are amazing. Happy Wednesday.